Oh my god.
It's all right. It couldn't be any
Okay.
less all right.
Dude, look at Winry. That is so tough. She had no intention of sealing them in there. This is just not a situation I was expecting. Welcome back to another episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. As you can see, I'm still shifting a few things around, trying out different lightings and background settings. I actually think I really like what I've got going on here. But as I said in the last video, I'm very open to feedback with all these little changes that I'm making, because I want to make this just as enjoyable for you guys as viewers as it is for me. But getting straight into episode 39 here of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, what I'm really hoping we get from this episode, just like I said last episode, is a continuation of Winry and Scar's conversation, as well as a continuation of what's going on up in Briggs. But I'm going to continue this theme of trying to leave a lot of the talking until the discussion after the episode. So that's it, I'm going to go straight into episode 39 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. New intro, you know what time it is. I've actually really been waiting for this. I'm really curious to listen to, especially the outro of last segment, I guess you want to call it. But that's gonna come out straight after this episode. We'll have OP and ED 3 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm very excited for that. What I'm also thinking about doing is rewatching at least the first OP as well, and kind of seeing what details I can either pick up from, or if I can maybe develop some more theories about the show. Okay, straight on. This is exactly what I want. Dude, look at Scar! Scar and Kimberly.
Do you remember when we first met? It seems we've changed places. You shouldn't be so confident.
Oh, true! He's standing up there! Daydream.
Kimberly, damn you! Tell me why. Why is Winry here? We finally got Scar cornered, and now he's taking her hostage because of you!
Stand aside.
This might go back to I believe Ed made a point of saying, did Miles bring Winry there? But Ed's saying, why is Winry there? Like, this might get explained, but that was literally their plan, right? Like, it was Winry's plan to come along. And we know how much Ed, you know, obviously wants to protect Winry and keep her out of trouble, and now... But like I said last episode, I don't think Scar wants to do anything with Winry. I really think they want to talk. But Ed and now did leave Winry, you know, with Mei, Yoki, and Marco. And I'm fairly certain Winry just went along on her own, right? She just wanted to talk to Scar. She wanted to get the details about her parents. So I'm a bit confused as to Ed's reaction here. But we'll see. It looks like Kimberly is about to do something.
What are you doing? Stop! Can't you see Winry's up there with him? I won't let you attack!
Why can't you just stay out of the way?
Classic Scar move.
Fall back! A snowstorm! Hurry!
Have to see more about how this plays out.
That was a convincing performance.
It wasn't a performance. I'm every bit as angry as I sounded back there. I feel so worthless having to put on this charade.
There had to be something. Okay, what did they this was a plan.
Why did you kill my mother and father?
Did they talk more before? Yeah, maybe? And we didn't see this last episode.
Young girl, you have every right to pass judgment on
I'm so here for this, yep.
Your arm. You'll die if we don't bandage it.
Winry?
Quiet, Ed.
Good.
I think this is what my parents would have wanted.
Good! Now this pleases me. Look at Scar.
Mom,
He's so taken aback by this.
before, after all. There has to be a reason for that.
Even after he killed her parents, she is still...
forgiving me.
Don't get me wrong.
Not yet.
Don't forgive your wanton murdering.
Yep. This makes me so happy.
Winry.
It's all right. I won't cry.
I won't cry. She's been saying that a lot lately.
But the next time I cried, they would be tears of joy.
Yes, at the train station. That's so tough. I had forgotten about that. That would make me cry if I was Winry.
No matter what Winry says, I still want to beat you bloody and drag you down to the Rockbell family grave to pay your respects.
Major Miles, wasn't it? Can I ask you something? Earlier you said I was one of your people. That's right. I'm Partish Valen on my grandfather's side. I wish we didn't have to meet like this, red-eyed brother of mine.
Red-eyed brother of mine.
To change how the people of this country view the people of Ishval.
Is that gonna hit hard with Scar? Look at him.
I don't think that greater task will be easy to accomplish. Maybe in time, the ripples I create will become great waves.
Hmm.
And do you want to know what the most ironic part about it is?
I love Miles.
It was an Amestrian who set me on this path in the first place.
You talking about Olivier?
Look at me. I am a festering wound of hatred born of the Great Ishvalan War. I am thankful that there is someone like you out there.
Damn, look at Scar, man.
We captured Scar. We're holding him in Area D. Inform Kimberly.
Hmm.
You must accept judgment. Hold on! Who's that?
Marco. Good. Yes, we saw them standing outside the door last episode. I do remember that.
Don't take Scar as your prisoner. We need him.
Yes, they need him to decipher the notes. Good, this is what I wanted. I wanted everyone... Oh, good. They did have this conversation. They just didn't show it last episode.
Deciphering notes, huh?
Yes, it's groundbreaking research that tries to fuse a mystery.
Yes. Dude, even Miles getting this information I think is huge.
Scar's the only one who can make sense of it. So you're the Alchemist girl, huh? I have ordered to bring you back to the fort.
Me? But what do they want with me?
You'll receive a warm welcome, I'm sure. Scar needs to be kept free, and it would be just as bad if they found.
Alright, so they put on this whole him kidnapping Winry situation.
I think it might be
And Ed was acting when he went to Kimberly.
Briggs to hide you from senior military staff.
Hold on.
Oh, we're all going back to Briggs. Oh, but Bradley's men are there. Interesting.
We need to decipher those notes, right, Elric?
There's not a damn thing I want that guy's help with.
Oh, come on, man. Big picture. Big picture. I get it, but big picture.
The one
Yep.
this country was formed to make. I heard all about it from General Armstrong.
Okay, Miles is in the know.
Something's about to happen that will affect all of Amestris and its people.
Big picture.
We need to know what the notes say.
Yes.
That's more important than anything else.
Yes.
I heard they're using the Rockbell girl as a hostage against you.
Then Miles knows everything.
Now we can disgrace Kimberly and find some place to hide her where they can't touch her.
Good. Scar's gonna take Winry. Okay. And I hope they get to talking.
Listen up, Scar. If you're willing to work with us, I'll...
Yes! Oh, thank God. Everyone's working together. Even if it's only for a short time. I've wanted this for so long.
Yes, I'll help you decode the notes. I have your word on that. You do
From one Ishval into another.
blood. You can trust me, my red-eyed brother.
My red-eyed brother. That kind of gave me chills a little bit.
Deal, then. My
Scar and
apologies,
Miles.
Rockbell. You'll have to wait a while before we can punish your parents' killer.
Fine.
I forgot about those two.
Forgot about these two.
That's what I'm saying.
Dispose of them.
Wait! You don't have to kill them! No! A life is a life!
Yeah, life is a life is a life.
Than that!
Showing us mercy, how adorable.
That's what they do, man. Those Elric values.
Look at these bodies. What kind of future can we have? If you're gonna kill us, do it.
I don't
Look at Al's body. It's the same thing.
So you don't want to get your original bodies back then? You're content the way you are now? Is that it?
No, how could we be? Of course
Yeah.
we want our true bodies back.
Imagine they come with them.
There's your answer. I don't want to hear a bunch of fatalistic nonsense.
Talk to him, Alphonse.
Live and learn whether there's a chance of getting your bodies back.
Because there is, man.
How could you possibly know what we're going through? And what chance do we have of going back?
But they're chimeras, right? Didn't they say they can't? But maybe they can with
I'm
Alka history.
back. No matter how long it takes, I'm not giving up.
Dude, Alphonse has some great moments, man.
It's not good. A snowstorm. We have no chance of reaching the fort.
What do we do now?
This is a mining town, isn't it?
Oh, here we go,
Why don't
Yoki.
just go into the underground tunnels.
Okay, Yoki being useful, actually.
I think.
That's it!
Hey, give me some credit. This is what I did for a living.
He's right.
Okay, Yoki, alright.
Past the mountain. Once you run into Briggs soldiers, just hand them this. I've explained our arrangements so you
Okay.
shouldn't have any trouble with them.
I hope they run into Briggs soldiers before the soldiers from Central that are there right now.
Matter of the young Miss Rockbell. She can accompany us to the fort, of course. But when word gets out that she's missing,
I imagine Scar and Winry might rendezvous with them.
first people they suspect.
That's why they have to use Scar.
Yeah, I hate to brag, but I've got a pretty smooth tongue, you know.
Hey, yo. Whose idea is it? It might be Winry's.
I hate to suggest this, but what do you think Kimberly would do if I was suddenly taken hostage by Scar?
Wow, this is how we got here? I'm so impressed.
You want him to kidnap you?
Look at Ed.
Hold on, Winry.
Right. Scar runs away carrying me. Then Ed, you and the others.
And
play
that's why he showed himself to them.
Intend to do. You understand?
You can't do that to Craig!
I don't have a choice, do I? I'm a hostage either way, so I might as well get to choose my captor.
But he's a mass murderer!
There's no reason for you to be risking your life.
Don't you get it? It's time for you two to learn you don't have to do everything alone.
Talk to him, Winry. That's facts. They need to hear that from Winry, of all people. They'll listen to that. Damn, look at Winry. Winry has really changed.
Damn it! Scar, if you do anything to hurt her,
I won't harm the girl. I keep my promises.
Let's go. And Ed frees him,
Us too.
and they put on the act.
Please, you have to take us with you too.
Do they really go with him?
We don't want to give up either.
Let's go. Alphonse's influence on them.
How do we know you mean that? You realize if you do anything to obstruct us, the whole country could be destroyed.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Just
Marco knows what to say.
I don't understand. The Central Forces weren't told about any of this. Please, we need to know more. What's going on?
And you will keep your oath. Your solemn word is a true wish.
Miles is one of my favorite new characters in the show right now.
Excuse me, miss. Your ears. Your earrings are made out of metal. If you don't take them out, you'll get frostbite.
This guy's a real one. 2, 3, 4.
Ed, you hang on to these for me.
There is some significance with
I'll see you
those.
back at the fort.
For sure. I'm not exactly sure what yet. I don't know if I'm meant to. But maybe just symbolic. And here we go. And now we're back here.
finally got Scar cornered, and now he's taking her hostage because of you!
They constructed this whole thing so well. I'm not gonna lie. They really had me going. For the most part.
Either Scar did the man or they're out there in the snow.
Storm will have Scar trapped too.
We know he has to be.
Let's see how smart Kimberly is here.
Since we're stuck here.
Briggs is on the line for you.
Okay, here we go.
What'd you say?
So it's true then? You're actually the daughter.
Might just be the Central Soldiers.
Yes, did you know?
Oh, does Marco know them?
Marco?
Of course I did. There isn't a single doctor.
I didn't even think about this.
Didn't know your parents' names.
Aw.
They did their duty with
Oh, look how proud she is.
themselves.
I don't forgive your wanton murdering.
How can I forgive the military for all that they've done?
I said
You gotta know the truth, man.
there is no forgiveness for wanton murder.
Ooh, it's the
Any
same
good man
thing.
must always condemn it. You must abide it. You must sever the chain of hatred once and for all.
Yes, this was a big line. I remember this.
But if ultimate understanding can be reached,
Ultimate understanding.
saved from ourselves.
Yes, that's the
That is
key.
my motivation.
Let's go, Scar's brother. I don't know if we know his name.
The mine staff room. We need something from here. Now
Okay,
let's-
Yoki.
Ah, here it is. See? A detailed map of the tunnels.
Nice.
Looks complicated. I can't tell what's what.
We go through
Yoki will know,
here and
yeah.
here, and we're out.
Impressive. You sure know how to read a map.
Oh, it's nothing.
At this rate, are there any hints in those research notes you have about how we might try getting our original forms back?
At the moment, I can't say. It's a possibility, but this is a form of alchemy I know nothing about.
I can't wait to see my family again. What about you? You were such a lousy drunk your own son couldn't stand to
These
be
two are so
around for
interesting.
5 minutes.
You have to bring that up.
Panta May here.
Are you all right, May? What's wrong?
Maybe her family or her clan.
My entire clan is waiting for me back in my country, but I don't think I can return to them.
What, without something for immortality?
Stone is made from sacrificing
Yeah,
people's
okay.
lives. No one should be allowed to create something so awful.
Yes, good opinion.
His Imperial Highness found out how to make one.
Oh,
Hesitate a moment to do it.
right. Well, let's make this work. Alchemy and alchemy history. Wow, he sounds like a demon though.
What am I supposed to do now?
That's an interesting situation for May.
Contain what you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Secret to immortality. Let's hurry to the fort and figure out what they say.
Yep, here we go. Yeah.
Been summoned back to the Central Command. Sent from Central have begun invading Briggs in force. There's no doubt
they're trying to force. Yeah, they're trying to force this whole soak the land in blood situation, perhaps.
The commander handpicked by Bradley will be posted in her place.
What do we do about Winry? We have to find some way to warn them.
There's no way we can catch up to them in a storm this bad.
I'll go tell them.
Don't go underestimating the storm out there, kid.
What can they do from here?
Come anywhere close to reaching them.
There is a way. Listen.
Can Alphonse go?
Send someone who doesn't have a body. That storm won't freeze me to death.
Let's go, Al. On a solo mission? It might be time. Wonder how far it is though. Like they drove out here, right?
Worse than I thought. I can't see anything at all.
Ooh, hello. Where are we? It's his door. And his body. Why now?
What was that? Was it my body? But how?
Ugh.
I guess a body just can't hold up with someone else's soul being shoved inside of it.
A body.
Why now?
A body that shouldn't have a soul in it. It's being rejected? Does this mean my body is pulling on my soul?
I was wondering if this would ever come into play. That would freak you out so much.
I have to hurry.
A body that shouldn't have a soul. Huh?
Edward Elric.
Okay, interesting.
Also, von Hohenheim.
What does this mean?
Curtis. She's a possibility.
I think I'm following. Maybe. Yep, this is what I thought he was doing. New outro as well, this looks sick. I have so much to talk about now. So I'm currently facing the dilemma, and this is just me being weird. Like, you see this space here, like in the wall? That's where I want to be. But when I do this discussion, I also want to be centered, and I'm not really about moving the camera, because it's the perfect place for me to sit, like when I'm watching the show, looking at my other monitor. But when I come in the middle and there's just like this space here, it is what it is. It probably doesn't matter at all. Okay, that was a fantastic episode. So many things didn't really necessarily add up. I was pretty spaced out when I was watching last episode, I'm not gonna lie, but I feel really about it right now. Like even the way that, like, why would Scar, like if Scar has escaped by himself with Winry, right? Why would he show himself to Kimberly? Like, it didn't make sense. And then when Ed comes running up to Kimberly at the start of this episode, like, why is Winry here? I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You know damn well why Winry is here. You know, it just didn't add up. I'm like, something, because this show is way too good at doing things like this to be doing things like that, right? But of course, everything is for a reason, and I should have known. And like I said last episode, I think on a more alert day, I might pick up on some of these things. And just like, this is all that I've wanted. I got so many things that I wanted this episode. Like, you can't understand how happy so much of this stuff makes me. So they all got to talking, right? Everyone. First of all, Winry and Scar got to chat a little bit more. Even after Scar openly says to Winry, like, look, there's no taking back what I did. I killed your parents. Winry, being the great character she is, she says, even though I hate you pretty much for killing my parents, what my parents would have done in this situation, and I believe it's so true, by the way, is she still helps Scar, right? She's like, this is what my parents probably would have wanted, and that's what her parents were doing. You know, even though Scar was an Ishvalan, you know, in the war, they still helped him. And now Winry is here doing the exact same thing, and you can see the way Scar is reacting to the situation. And I think it's coupled fantastically with the flashbacks to Scar's master and his brother, saying all these things, you know, to do with, you know, you need to abide by it, you need to, you know, cast away all this hatred and stuff. As long as all that exists, all the shenanigans is going to continue to go on. And in this moment that you can see, like, Scar can see Winry obviously hates him. She still says, I still don't forgive your wanton murder, which is exactly what his master said. Like, you can't forgive it, but you can abide by it. And even when Miles says we need to delay Scar's punishment, Winry clearly was kind of saying, yeah, I'm pretty keen for him to be punished a little bit, but fine, that's fine. But even through all that, she helps him. She ties up his arm, and she even comes up with this whole plan of Scar taking her hostage so they can all, get out. And I'll just briefly touch on, 2 episodes ago, even last episode, I talked about it, the whole, how are they going to get away from this Kimberly situation, right? And I think at the end of the day, it's Kimberly's fault for letting them all go off on their own, right? Even though he sent his men with them, who are now on their side as well, which I think is really dope. It's just very lucky they all managed to meet up with Yoki, May, and Marco, and eventually Scar as well, for this whole situation to come about. But it was just such a... This is the exact interaction I wanted. Like, even if it's not on the greatest of terms, and I'm talking mostly about Ed and Scar at this point, Ed is still very, very angry towards Scar. That's why he said when he went up to Kimberly and he was pissed, he wasn't really acting. He was genuinely pissed off at the fact that, they're trying to work with Scar and they can't punish him immediately because of what he did to Winry's parents, right? Completely understandable in Ed's case, and it's very true to his character. But May and Marco standing outside the door, we saw last episode, coming in and saying, look, you guys can't take Scar in. We need him to decipher, Scar's brother's notes that are written in ancient Ishvalan. And Miles being informed by Olivier about everything that's going on was so crucial to this instance, because Miles was pretty much calling all the shots right there. So pretty much the situation comes about, we need to get May to Briggs, because she is the Alchemist girl. We need to get Marco to Briggs, because he is very informed on alchemy and all this stuff. We need to get Scar to Briggs because he's the one that can decipher the notes, and we're going to get Winry to Briggs as well so we can protect her. We need to take Yoki with us because he's the one that understands this whole tunnel system. Look, it's cool that Yoki's actually getting some involvement now, and I think we could see a little bit of a turnaround for his character coming through all of this. Like, he's getting a lot of attention. People are praising him for his knowledge of the tunnels and everything. Yeah, it is what it is. And the 2 chimeras that were Kimberly's men, let me grab their names real quick. I believe they were in the mid-episode card in the middle there. Jerzo and Zampano. So they actually got quite a bit of attention this episode, mostly with Alphonse as well. So they were tied up pretty much saying, look, if you're going to kill us, kill us. We've chosen to become these chimeras. We left our families. They think we're dead. Alphonse coming in with that Elric value that we know of, we're not going to kill you. A life is a life, which is a very interesting specific choice of words, considering that's pretty much what Bradley was saying to the Ishvalan priest, I believe, when he was offering to sacrifice himself for them to stop the, all the killing in Ishvalan. Bradley was like, no, one life is only one life. So that was really like an interesting, I don't know if it was a deliberate comparison, but it is very interesting. And Alphonse obviously being able to relate to these 2 who have lost their original bodies, just like Alphonse. And he's like, don't you have family that you want to see and you want to get back to? Which to me was a little bit of a callback to their mother, I guess. Or now perhaps maybe Izumi and Panako, when they get their bodies back, they want to go and see them. But pretty much just saying, look, I don't have a body either. And there's a chance for me to get my body back. If you have a chance, like, wouldn't you want to live and find out? To which they do react to that. They're like, oh, if there was a chance, of course we'd get our bodies back. And now Jerzo and Zampano are with everyone else down in the tunnels heading for Briggs. And there was a little bit of a tension. They had a little discussion down there about their families and whatnot. And I believe Jerzo's a wife and child, and Zampano, I can't actually remember, but something about his family as well. So very interesting development. We have 2 of Kimberly's men that have become chimeras that are kind of following them to try and get their original bodies back, which is probably going to do with this alchemy thing. Now, before I talk more about that and May, what immediately jumped to my mind was Nina and Alexander, right? Because when they became a chimera, Alphonse was very specific in saying there's no way for us to turn you back. And granted, I think that was very early on in the show. I think it was episode 4, right? So granted, this is before they have all the knowledge of Philosopher's Stones that they have now, before there's even this possibility of alchemy and alchemy working together. So perhaps things have changed. Maybe not necessarily to do with the Philosopher's Stone, but maybe with alchemy and alchemy, because that's all about deconstruction and reconstruction. Maybe they can deconstruct, like human transmutation. They can use it on chimeras to maybe separate them, like deconstruct them and then reconstruct them into like the human and the animal that they used to be, right? I think that's a very real possibility now. The pan to May, as Jerzo and Zampano were talking about their families, was clearly hinting that May has some sort of, situation at home. Obviously we know that her clan is, in trouble if she doesn't come back with this possibility of immortality. And she's talking about the Emperor, I believe. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm just looking through the episode now, and you can see even when Zampano and Jozo are talking, May is in the corner here looking down, like already thinking about, obviously, what she starts to talk about. His Imperial Highness, okay, that's clearly referring to the Emperor, like saying he would not hesitate to sacrifice as many of their people as needed to create a Philosopher's Stone for himself to live. And I don't really think the Emperor has been painted in any sort of negative light up until now, right? I actually don't think he's been painted in any sort of light by Ling or May, at least. The situation is just, we are possible heirs to be the next Emperor or Empress. And for our respective clans and whatnot, we need to come back with an idea of immortality, to save the Emperor. Like, he's dying, he's old, he's not well. But he would not hesitate to do all these horrible things. And May is like, no one should ever do this. It's just like what Ed and Al talked about. And I mentioned this a while back. I think May is going to go through the same thing that Ed and Al did, which it seems like she is. And she's like, okay, no one should make Philosopher's Stones. This is a bad thing. And she doesn't want to come back with that knowledge, even if it helps her clan, because, it's just immoral. But of course, Marco coming in, and May knows this already as well, but I think she was just having a bit of a moment, and Marco saying, look, but now we have a humane possibility for immortality, alchemy, and alchemy. And then I did even want to talk about the whole idea of just immortality in general. A pretty common theme across shows with immortality in them is that at the end of the day, like is immortality itself really a moral thing to be chasing after? And a big theme in the show is that, life is life, the fact that you die, is what makes you human. And Hohenheim's been going through that, which we saw a few episodes ago as well. He's pretty much saying he's immortal, his body will not die. And then after having a family with Trisha and the boys, he's like, I want to grow old and die with my family now. Perhaps this Emperor is just like a father kind of guy, and he just wants immortality. He just wants to live. But I wonder if we'll even move away from this idea of, okay, we need to figure out immortality, and rather more so human transmutation to kind of help people like these chimeras. It's just really interesting. These are all thoughts that are just popping into my head now. Because I look at, it's so interesting. So I'm looking at Hohenheim, and he said he accepted this body. He had all these names when he pulled like the blood out of himself. Perhaps we can use human transmutation, maybe a combination of alchemy, alchemy to kind of fix up Hohenheim's body. Maybe we can use it on Father. What's his situation? It's really interesting. I don't have a lot of like concrete details to add into that, but it's just really interesting food for thought at this point. And I believe Ed and Al have had to stay at Bass School, I believe was the name of the place, as part of the act to kind of, so if they disappear as well, it looks like they've taken Winry, and it's just very obvious. But currently it looks like it's all played out pretty well, and the storm was very convenient. So Briggs is no longer safe as well, which is really interesting. So it seems like Olivier has been taken to Central, and they're going to put someone else of Bradley's choosing in charge of Briggs. So that kind of throws a bit of a spanner in the works. We'll really have to see what happens with all that. And then I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is this Alphonse situation, which is so interesting. So we go back to Barry, when he's talking about, a body that shouldn't have a soul in it. And I think there might be two different meanings to that. And I'll have to see perhaps a body that has the wrong soul in it. But I'll talk about the obvious thing first, okay? Alphonse's suit of armor, we were introduced to this idea by Barry, and it hasn't really come up again until now. So it's kind of slipped from our minds, at least from my mind, and perhaps Alphonse's as well, until he had this experience. But going through the snowstorm, and then he has a moment like he's somewhere else. Then he sees his body, in the portal and his door. I'm gonna go, I think I will look at the intro, like all the symbols on the door, and then the symbols on the thing from Xerxes. We'll see. There might be some connections there. But he sees his body, and he reaches out and they almost touch. And it's like, why did that happen in that moment? And then Alphonse flashes back to Barry, like saying like, maybe his body is pulling on his soul. And that's why he had that vision. Like his body was pulling his soul in this suit of armor, like to where his body is perhaps. And I believe the implication is the suit of armor, right? That's his body now, shouldn't have a soul in it, right? And there's a bit of a time aspect to it, right? So it's getting to the point where, the armor is very slightly starting to reject his soul. And that's just adding another layer to everything that's going on. Like there is the time aspect of, Father and the homunculi, trying to activate this massive human transmutation circle. But now there's also the time element of Alphonse's suit of armor potentially rejecting his soul and his body pulling it all the way back into the portal or something, and then who knows if we can even get it back. But the other thing I was thinking about, and this might be a little bit far-fetched, is that if his body is in the portal right now, and we've seen it, like Ed spoke to it, and it clearly was Alphonse, but I was thinking, like, only because of what Al said here. What if Alphonse's truth, because I believe the idea is they have separate truths, or individual truths, based on who's been in the portal. If Alphonse's truth is in his body currently inside the portal, and if it's the same sort of situation, it's his body without his soul in it, and that's what we saw with Barry's body that had a different soul in it. It deteriorated, which was just interesting, and that might be part of the reason why Alphonse's body is deteriorating. Not just the fact that his soul is out of it, but that someone else's soul is inside of it. I'm not saying that's the case by any means. It's just interesting to think about. And we have to remember that there is a connection between Alphonse and Ed is potentially, I'm pretty sure it is what is happening at this point, is supplying, nutrients and sleep and rest and whatnot to Alphonse's body still in the portal. But that was a crazy shakeup I did not expect to pop up in this episode. And the father scene at the end, I forgot about this. I'm so glad I'm looking through the episode again. I've been talking for a while at this point, so I'm starting to forget things that have happened. So he has, like, on this piece of paper, like, it's clearly the transmutation circle, right? And at each of these points, now we know when Kimberly's Philosopher's Stone was created, they used the transmutation circle in the 5th laboratory, and there were sacrifices at each point, right? Clearly, Father is referencing people we know to be potential important sacrifices for this situation. Alphonse Elric, Edward Elric, Von Hohenheim, Izumi Curtis as a possibility. Now, what do Izumi, Ed, and Al all have in common? They've all been through the portal by their own means. Now, that idea was introduced that an important candidate is someone who has, like, seen the truth or been in the portal right at some point. And the implication here is that Hohenheim has also done a similar thing, which I don't believe would be that far-fetched at all, considering, what we know about Hohenheim. Who else do we know that has been through the portal, right? The only 2 people that we know in some way, shape, or form have done this are Envy and Ling, right? When Ed got them out of inside that false portal inside Gluttony. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I'm thinking about is they went through not by their own means, like by Ed's means, but Ling, there was a lot of emphasis on when he stepped into the zone, right, like into the transmutation circle, like he deconstructed, which really makes me think, like, because they didn't draw any more attention to it afterwards. They just popped out of Gluttony, and then that whole confrontation with Father happened, and then then Ling became Greed. So there's a possibility that Ling could be that 5th person, maybe even Envy. Does that work? Because Envy's a homunculus, I don't know. But now Ling is a homunculus as well. So perhaps that 5th person is yet to be determined, but that is very, very interesting. And I'm looking at, like, the pieces that Father is using to put on this circle, and there must be some symbolism with them. I can't quite put it together just yet. But I think that does it for all the major plot points. Another massive episode. There was so much going on after the whole, debacle in them devising that plan of Scar capturing Winry. I really hope I haven't missed anything important. Plus all these extra details of Alphonse and Father, May, extra characters being added to the group. And I will touch on, I did mention it during the episode, but Winry, just as much as Scar has changed after his interaction with Winry, Winry seems like a lot different. And she had a very important line to Ed. When are you going to realize you don't have to do this by yourselves? Right? This has been a big theme throughout the show. Ed and Al just always doing things by themselves. Even here, they did the same thing, right? First chance they got, they ditched the soldiers that were watching them and they went off by themselves. But they did have Winry inside of Al, so but it's the same sort of thing, right? I believe this is the 2nd time since Winry has been up north that she said, "I will not cry." And I'm kind of upset at myself for not picking up on the fact that yes, that is a reference to what she said at the train station when she left back to Rush Valley. She said to Ed and Al, the next time I cry, it'll be tears of joy because you guys have your bodies back. And she's really sticking true to that, which is just huge. And just the way she's carrying herself through this situation with Scar, coming up with this plan, it's just different, right? So she is also very changed after her interaction with Scar. She doesn't want to just sit back and watch and just feel helpless anymore. She's getting involved, coming up with these plans, showing compassion for Scar. It's really great. There's so much character development happening lately that's been building up for over 30 episodes at this point. We're almost at episode 40 now. And it's great. It's been worth the wait. It's things I've been talking about and wanting for so long, and now that we're finally starting to get there, I'm just feeling so fulfilled. But I think that's going to do it for this one. This might be another one that I'll sit on and read the comments and whatnot and maybe have more to talk about. And just one last note about the setup and everything. I filmed this like the next day after episode 38 that I have not uploaded yet. So if there's any feedback about the setup and everything from last episode and I haven't like carried it on or changed it in this episode, it's because I haven't put the episode up yet and I haven't seen any feedback. But that's going to do it for this one. As always, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And as always, please continue to leave your feedback down below. I always appreciate it, especially with all the little changes I'm making right now. I don't hold back. If you think something's not good or something could be a little bit better, please let me know and I'll do my best to change it and just constantly make things better for everyone. But that's going to do it for this one. We'll see you in the next episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.